They're the worst.
They're the worst.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Blackjack or Whackjack. As always, I'm Noah Davis.
I'm John Peanut.
And we are here to talk about episode 7 of the Blackjack OVA titled White Justice. Big picture.
Wait, is it titled White Justice?
Yeah, that's what I wrote down, so I hope.
I mean, that's what Tubi labels it, but on the wiki it's black and white.
Oh, I
Clinical
think
chart 7, black and white.
I want to say the episode, like the title card, because it says Case 7 or Kage 7, whatever it says.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought it said White Justice, because I don't even think I looked at the actual Tubi title.
I mean, that is what Tubi says, so I believe you. It's just weird because all the clinical charts have been correct with the Tubi title up to this point.
Right.
Like, I'm just scrolling through and looking back. So for some reason, this one says black and white. So
Huh.
I don't know. Translation.
Okay, well,
who knows
Black
what.
and White Justice. We'll just mesh, you know? Big picture, go.
Yeah, big picture. I think a classic episode of Blackjack. Not the best, but classic. You know, typical, good, consistent. One I would recommend watching if you were to just pick random episodes from the show.
Which, I mean, this whole OVA might as well be just picking random episodes to watch.
Yeah, true. But there are definitely some to steer clear from. Episode 6.
I mean, episode 6. That might be the new low, is episode 6. Yeah, but I agree. I think while it was a solid episode, I do think it kind of lacked on any sort of mystery. It just kind of was, you know, is very face value, which is fine. That's fine. But yeah,
I think that's true of the other good episodes too, though. Like the only mystery is like, can he solve it in these weird, harsh conditions? Not that it's like true mystery. You know, that's what was cool about the soldier episode, right? Like, he knew it was some kind of cancer. He was just like, how the fuck do I do this in a guerrilla environment?
I guess what I mean is we didn't get a lot of focus on the actual case, whereas on this, we got to focus on Blackjack's kind of role in the greater medical world. You know, the quote unquote mystery just wasn't really the focus, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, solid episode. It was kind of a weird setup. Where this mob boss hired Blackjack to save his granddaughter who was in a war, because I don't know why the daughter was there, actually. I don't know why the mob boss's daughter was in the war or the Civil War area.
Because he's from that country.
Oh, he was? Okay.
I think for mob reasons, he left to sort of establish his empire, but they just stayed because they liked their home country, and now it's like a war-torn nation.
Yeah, and along the way, Blackjack meets this hot lady doctor who surprisingly doesn't show her boobies, which, I don't know, I've gotten used to that fan service, so I was a little kind of confused, really. Who's engaged to this one doctor who hates Blackjack, which was a cool kind of deal. But my biggest thing is the setup was cool, you know? It wasn't maybe as cool as the revolutionary stuff, and we have already seen yet another Civil War. 2 Civil Wars, actually.
Yeah, but I think part of the problem with that is just they're picking random episodes, you know?
Right, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know if that's the actual manga story's fault, you know, like you say.
120 chapters apart, but 2 episodes apart in the OVA.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But, yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about this. I mean, like I said, the doctor who's engaged to the lady doctor, I thought that was an interesting dynamic, how she kind of is just, yeah, I volunteered for whatever that Dr. Sans Frontiers, yeah. And then she had to go off for a while, and I think that's a cool setup, and it kind of establishes that Blackjack's just kind of a badass, even to these trained, you know, educated doctors. He's still just, yeah, I'm better, dog. And so that's just a cool dynamic to see. And also I actually liked all the characters in this one. I mean, whether it was the Yakuza boss, the doctor, the lady doctor, the child and the daughter, I don't know. There's just other episodes seem like, this character's whatever. This character's this character's that. But yeah, it was pretty nice just seeing kind of a solid cast that I wasn't annoyed by.
No, agreed completely. I think every character served a role,
Hmm.
and they served that role well. Like even Pinocchio as sort of the comedic relief, silly, over the top, and love fangirly thing. They did it in a very controlled way, not like I can't imagine a whole Pinocchio episode. I'd turn it off probably, but it was serviceable in this episode, and like you mentioned, the contrast between that like chief of surgery dude and his wife, who's like the sort of volunteer doc. Um, there was a lot of like contrasting and relationship dynamics to follow in this one that was sort of classic of good TV.
Yeah, and there's actual character development, which really hasn't been that big of a thing here. Uh, whether it was the volunteer doctor kind of realizing her fiance's kind of a dick but still loving him, or the fiance doctor, realizing the error of his ways. There's actual just, okay, this character got better by the end, which is
Right.
pretty freaking rare.
Yeah, particularly in this show, it's just sort of like, yep, more cool shit by Mister. I'll charge you no matter what the issue is.
Yeah, hey, also Blackjack's a good guy, only charging those guys IOUs. So
But still charging them. Let's be clear.
IOUs. So going back to that one episode where he destroyed the barrels of the oil or gas and then destroyed the bio weapon. He's just a
Yeah.
good guy at heart.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, at heart.
I will say this episode had a lot of freeze frames.
Yeah, a ton.
A
And I
lot of
also
them.
think there was a bit of overacting. Those were going to be my two sort of big negatives.
What was the overacting specifically?
Um, like like really, and it's an anime thing, but just Blackjack hadn't been doing it that much, but
Mm,
where everything's sort of overemphasized and like overly dramatic, like the bits that aren't dramatic, like the war torn nation, sure, dramatic, right?
right.
Someone getting their fucking like stepping on a mine and not having a leg anymore, yeah, dramatic.
Dramatic.
But having, you know, it was like Larry in the opening scenes, like you're sort of seeing the chief surgery young badass dude, and then he's like doing all the fucking like jump around. What's that sword art sport called? It's not
What?
fencing, but the sword shit that he was doing at the beginning.
Oh,
Young Doc. There's a
yeah, I
word for it.
couldn't tell you.
But it's like part art, part sport. Like fencing,
Yeah,
you're trying to score points and stuff, and this is more like who can look
it's
cooler
not
and
a
also win the sword fight.
keto. I don't think it's
You sure?
that.
That kind of sounds right.
It sounds right, but I think that's the hand to hand one. I don't know though.
No,
What is
keto
that word?
split into many different styles, including blah 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 blah. But some of it is with swords, some of it's hand to hand.
I think there's still a better word though.
Aikiki,
Mm,
aikikai.
we're gonna be here all day.
It doesn't matter. When he was doing that, and then he
Hmm.
comes home, the tension amongst him and his partner about the stuff that, again, two characters we don't really care about, just felt so overly heightened. And not in a like horribly negative way. It just felt like every sentence that was out of either of their mouths was trying to be like the most profound thing either one of them had said in their lives the whole time. Whether he was at work, whether he was doing the Aikido thing, or whether he was talking to his partner. So I made a mention of it because I was like, huh, this overacting is like strange. And then it sort of kept pace the whole episode. Like even the tone of Dr. Blackjack on various points was like a little elevated relative to where he usually is.
Yeah, I kind of always chalk that kind of stuff up to early dubbing because I really doubt they had at least I don't want to say qualified, but an experienced dub director because it was honestly such a new thing. So I just kind of assume, the actors are just trying to give it their all, and that kind of doesn't really mesh sometimes. But I didn't even really notice it. I just kind of, yeah, okay, whatever, overacting or whatever, don't care. But I see your point. Uh,
Um,
mhm.
you want to go into the actual substance of the storyline now here?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, go for it. Do you want to?
So yeah, I mean, again, another war torn, ravaged country. Blackjack sort of helping, you know, the quote unquote affected party, like
Hmm.
the disenfranchised party, again, painting himself in this good light. I mean, they're painting him in the writing, obviously, in a good light. He's not doing anything particularly different from how he usually is. Um, but again, it did feel a little samey until you actually explored some of like the encampment and the different folks that really wanted Blackjack to help, and then he helps them all before going back to New York. Like, there's a lot of these beats that are, I think, done very, very well and keep it at least somewhat unique from these, again, now what, 3 different war-torn area episodes we've had?
Yeah, I mean, Blackjack's got to be suffering from traumatic stress. I mean,
Yeah. There's no way.
but yeah, and I even liked how they balanced that with the side stuff. So it kind of proves to me that that samurai episode didn't have to be as imbalanced, because this episode struck a nice, I want to say perfect, but a well balanced episode where we get the blackjack, we get the medical stuff, while also getting Pinocchio meeting the Yakuza boss and doing all this and that, and the fucking the fiancés kind of bickering about Blackjack's place. And we get the freaking the International Medical Board. Is that a thing? That's not a
No.
thing, right? Okay. I was just making sure. Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
have
we
I have
get
small
that.
gripes, and then I had those big negatives. That's a small gripe. That's not a big negative. But yeah,
Yeah.
sure, whatever. There's an international medical association in this thing, and they give honorary
They can
licenses to people
bestow,
apparently.
yeah. They have the power, the council of doctors, if you will. Yeah, but I think this episode really struck a nice balance between having, said blackjack plot while also adding to it. And even, I said this before the episode, even teasing that Pinocchio's a freaking robot. Again, there really should have been an episode explaining all this. I don't know what the OVA creators were thinking. They just, I don't know,
Right.
they thought, yeah, everyone's read the manga. I
I
mean,
mean, it truly must be that. It's truly like, "Hey, you just wanted some slice of life blackjack? Here you are.
it's just
We'll take the
weird.
highlights."
It's
But
just,
the
yeah.
highlights don't include any backstory.
No, they don't. And then they even hinted at Blackjack's origin with Pinocchio telling that story of Blackjack, or of she said it was a criminal and a cashier. I think she was actually talking about Blackjack. So there are hints of something. There are hints of these things, and I really doubt we're gonna get that solved in the next 2 episodes, sadly. Um I don't have a ton of other stuff. Do you, before your medical things?
I did have one of my bigger gripes, the actual negative complaint,
Mm-hmm.
was this, whatchamacallit, voiceover stuff with the letter back home. You know what I'm talking
Okay.
about? Where she's writing to her
Yeah.
partner. It was quite a lot of VO. It was like a good, maybe fifth of the episode was VO. And usually that bothers you. It bothered me.
I don't know. It kind of bothers me when it's like totally out of place. But if they kind of have this pattern, it's a little better, just a little bit better. Not saying it's the best thing in the world. But I actually didn't really mind it, because at least there's an in-world logic to it. Just narrating a letter and stuff, and not just you're wondering how I got here kind of thing. So it's like a jukebox soundtrack. If you can explain why the character is listening to that music, that's more digestible to me. But
Sure.
if you just throw it out, I don't know, it's okay, but it's gonna bother me. So yeah, I really didn't notice it really.
Fair enough. Only other things I have really are um medicine stuff. So
Okay, well, I have random etceteras that really aren't about the episode itself, just about some things. Did they keep getting the numbers wrong on things? Because she said we have to postpone, or the fiance doctor she said we have to postpone the wedding for a year, and then said I'm going away for 6 months. So that was
yeah,
weird. And
yeah,
then later, when the truck of refugees and the fiance doctor meet Blackjack, they go, "Oh, the refugee camp is 12 kilometers that way." And then when he gets there, she goes, "Yeah, he walked the whole 10 kilometers." And I'm just, okay, whatever, nothing crazy. But then I think it
Right.
happens
You
again.
couldn't scroll up in the teleplay to see how many kilometers you referenced earlier,
Yeah,
you
and then
know?
it happens again, and I'm not even sure where it says. I didn't write the third one down, but I swear it happened a third time, so I just don't even know what's going on here. Also, I enjoyed that the Yakuza boss was kind of freaked out that Pinocchio was a little girl. We
Yeah.
finally
No,
get a
that was nice.
character.
We finally have someone who addresses it, yeah, and then he gets shot the fuck up.
Yeah, yeah. Don't be weird about it or we'll kill you. Yeah, when she's saying, "Oh, I don't hang out with children and I only like, boys who are at least 17." And he goes, "Huh?"
Yeah.
Perfect. That's all I needed. That's all.
Yep, yep.
And then I will say Pinocchio's still a weird character because
Yeah.
again, she said, "Is Blackjack cheating on me?" And I guess,
Right, like, he's
like,
agreed to some weird relationship with
yeah.
her.
Like, yeah, okay, that's a kind of a playful line. Maybe she doesn't even, maybe it's not even a serious thing, but it's still weird that a child robot who's might be an adult in the robot is saying that. It's also weird that she doesn't like hang out with kids, but she's happy dressing in kids' clothing. But I don't know if
And
her,
she acts like a child, like, there's nothing about her
yeah,
that's an adult except for her words, you know?
yeah, and it also made me think, would it be better if she wore adult clothes, or would that make it worse?
Oh, yeah, she's dressing all provocative or
Yeah,
something.
it's
She's
just
in a
like
dress.
I had a real mental anguish about this because I just could not decide which is worse: an adult dressing like a child, or a child who's actually adult dressing like an adult. It's a moral conundrum, if you will.
Truly, truly.
And then also last one, um, so when they go to surgery, the final surgery, and Pinocchio is helping the Yakuza boss, he's all shot up. How did the fiance doctor lady, how did she find a robe that fit Pinocchio?
Yeah, true.
She said, "Here's your
All
robe,
the
doctor." And Blackjack, okay. And then, "Here's your robe, Pinocchio." What do you mean?
the hospital's equipped for all size of persons to
Child
perform
doctors?
surgery.
They got
Maybe.
fucking Dookie Howser over here. It
Well,
was
maybe
so
maybe it's
weird.
not children's clothes, maybe it's, small people's clothes.
I'd love to know the percentage of small
Yeah, to
people
keep it
doctors.
staffed. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's all my etc. If you want to, oh, and the soldiers looked awesome. The balaclava with the beret, awesome. But medical stuff,
Yeah, I mean, so it literally starts off with a medical non-mystery,
right?
in that the tetralogy of Fallot, I mean, if you don't get that repaired, which is what Blackjack is, like, contracted to do, like, by age 5, you're dead.
Okay,
Like, these are, like, babies who are born critically ill, and if they don't get on, either, like, some kind of support device or IV medicines until surgery, they literally die within 6 months, and usually they die even with the surgery. Like, it's a very horrible thing even today.
so you can't develop that; you just
No, no,
have
no,
it.
you're born with it. It's a malformation, like, in utero.
Gotcha. So you're saying the child's too old to
Yeah,
theoretically
for a
have
5-year-old,
this?
yeah. No, no, no,
Okay,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Or, again, she could've been, like, way
yeah,
sicker, like,
pushing it.
in a
Yeah, hmm,
yeah, like, with a LVAD or something, like, with some assistant device that they, like, MacGyvered out in the fucking wild, but absolutely not that she's just not feeling good.
right. So in a real world where there's a secret doctor society and a mob boss who wants to save his granddaughter, he would have hired Blackjack when she was born. What you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Or, maybe first couple months of life, but
But he knew
for
about the
sure
thing
yeah,
anyway.
for sure
Okay.
you knew about it, like, if that country was semi-developed in terms of, like, medical healthcare stuff, they would have known about it pre-birth,
Okay.
assuming she had, like, normal prenatal care. And then definitely when she was born, she would have been sick. This would have been like a blue baby who, like, you're like constantly having to worry about, like, they're on the brink of death. This is not like a, you know, oh, it comes and goes and you have attacks of this. No, no, no.
But it is a real thing.
Oh no, it's very
Gotcha.
real medical condition. It was just not real in the sense that this baby is alive and not
Right.
dying.
So unrealistic time frame.
Correct.
Okay.
And then the immediately it jumps into his first interaction as sort of doctor instead of just like, mysterious figure blackjack.
Hmm.
Is he picks the girl up and he goes, "Ah, yes, her blood pressure's 70."
Yeah.
He didn't have
He
like
felt
he didn't
it.
even like have a stethoscope. He just was like felt her. It's like it's like that's not how blood pressure works.
Maybe for you. For
and and
blackjack though.
and a singular number isn't a blood pressure.
Yeah,
Like
like
the
over or
only
whatever.
yeah, exactly. Like you have a systolic and a diastolic, or he could have said like the mean arterial pressure is 70, but at no
Nope.
point would you say the blood pressure is 70. So I think
It's
maybe that's just one of these like they got the dates wrong. They just meant to translate like heart rate and they said blood pressure. I don't know.
just BPM or something.
Yeah, yeah, because for children that
Okay.
could be a low heart rate, especially with like a congenital heart issue. But he said blood pressure, so I can't not fault his medical expertise here
That's
because
fair. Might be
that's just
localizing,
wrong.
but yeah,
That's just wrong.
that's fair.
um, and then again, it's like just a symphony of errors at this point because the immediately next thing he asked for is Zambon
Uh-huh.
or Zambon, and of course maybe that's some weird brand name of something in the 90s I hadn't heard of. But no, that's just an Italian like pharmaceutical company who, to my knowledge, does not have like it's like saying Q-tip, like they don't have that kind of stake in any one singular drug at that time that would be like a cardiopulmonary drug that this person might need. So I think they just like made up a drug for her.
What
Is sort of
drug
what I'm.
would be used, do you know?
I mean, it depends on what exactly he was trying to treat, but yes, there's a handful of different, either like inotropes or vasopressors, but different like cardiac or pulmonary meds that would have been beneficial here. He could
And
have said any of
these
them, and he said a company.
and these were available in the 90s?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Long time
Okay.
these have been around.
So, okay.
Astrology flow has
So,
been known for a long, long time.
gotcha. So the writing. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and then again in a back-to-back succession of asking for new meds, he's like, and we got to be careful about her prenadine dose. We don't want to go up on that because too much and it can be fatal. And there just isn't a drug called prenadine. Now, the closest thing I could find that would make sense is like a steroid, like prednisone. And that would make sense with the whole like you don't want to dose it too high because it can be bad. But again, just back to back two meds that I was like, these aren't even medicines. I was like, what are we saying? And for
Hmm.
again, a show that does try to do the medicine well, this was weird.
Right. I wonder. Yeah, it just makes you wonder if that's the on the manga or the localizers.
Yeah,
I wonder
and
what it
again,
says in the sub.
exactly. My suspicion is it's probably translational stuff that people just don't give a fuck about because no one watching this is a doctor. But as
Well,
it turns
yeah,
out,
no one's watching it as a doctor and also speaks Japanese who can translate into the
right,
English script.
right.
A lot of
Um,
variables.
Next big weird medical thing was she's made it to New York now. He's like stabilized her and all this, and now all the other doctors are gonna sort of check him out. And
Uh-huh.
she's in the room and she's feeling better and they're chatting and you see a monitor, right, with the pulse and the heart rate and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And correctly, it has like the invasive hemodynamics, like from a what we call like a swan scan catheter or like a heart pressure monitor, where essentially you stick a catheter like into the jugular vein in the neck and the wires go
Yeah.
into the heart and measure the pressures directly. But she doesn't have one of those.
God damn it.
So they have the monitor and the numbers, but there's nothing like sticking out of her neck.
I swear, I
So
saw that monitor and I literally wondered, does John have a problem with this one? I swear that thought hit me, so I'm glad. I'm glad it was right. Or
but that's
I'm glad
what's
my thought
interesting
was
is like
right.
so the medicine is right. Like they would do sort of like swan guided therapy for her,
Right.
but to not put the swan in just seems like
You know,
someone sort of knew but didn't know. I was just so confused.
she did move around a little bit, so maybe it was just an animation thing.
That's true.
Again, I wonder if because it take Naruto for example. In the manga, the first multiple chapters, he has goggles on, and then the artist realized those are too annoying to draw, and then the goggles just disappear. So maybe it's just one of those like, we could draw this, but who's gonna notice other than a doctor 20 years later? You know, I don't know. Could just be saving money.
Yeah, I mean, could be. I'm just saying it was a weird one.
Yeah, might as
Um,
well call it out.
then young chief of surgery guy who doesn't want Blackjack to be a doctor for
Hates
whatever reason, or
blackjack.
to have a license. Obviously he's a doctor no matter what this guy says. Obviously, Blackjack has not given a fuck this long. He's not going to give a
Right.
fuck
Yeah,
before or after the council makes their
it
decision.
doesn't change anything for blackjack.
But in that sort of monologue, he's like, "This is why we take the Hippocratic Oath." And so
Hmm.
I thought this would be a good point. Have you ever read the Hippocratic Oath?
No.
It's such dog shit, like craziness, that it's insane that we think that this is something like when we invoke, amongst doctors or like even just like sort of pop culturally, like, oh, well, that's why they take the Hippocratic Oath. Like they have a calling bigger than themselves or whatever people want to invoke it for.
Uh-huh.
Um, it is because at the time it meant a lot. And so people have sort of tried to hold themselves to this thing. But the actual oath in and of itself is insane. And I'll just read you some quotes.
Go for it.
It starts, I swear by Apollo healer, Acephalus, by Hygia, and by Panacea, and by all gods and goddesses, making them my witness, that I will carry out according to my ability and judgment this oath and indenture. So already you're swelling fealty to gods that pretty much none of the world believes in anymore.
Yeah.
you know? So that's already an interesting thing. So by definition, the oath itself is based on something that everyone who takes the oath doesn't hold true to their heart. That's not a good, it's like putting your hand on the Bible in the front of court and then
Right.
feeling no remorse because you don't give a shit about what the Bible says.
I don't believe in that.
Yeah. Um, and then, way later, sort of like almost at the halfway point, it's like, neither will I administer a poison to anybody when asked to do so, nor will I suggest such a course. Similarly, I will not give a woman a pessary to cause an abortion.
What?
So, yeah. So already in the oath now, it's saying no contraceptions for women, no abortions, and nothing that would cause harm to a patient, like a poison.
And
Or
then we
again, like
already
physician assisted suicide is sort of what it's alluding to. But all these things we already hold as like ethical quandaries in the modern world. And so that's
yeah.
why the Hippocratic Oath even more so is like, what are we talking about?
And haven't we been over chemo in this
Yeah,
series?
exactly. No, exactly. Chemo. I mean, literal digoxin, like which is a heart medicine, is a poison. Like everything's poison in the right dose. And no
Dang.
drug is without side effects. Like to say you won't do any harm is a total lie. Everything's just micro harms, and you're hoping that the benefit is better than the micro harms.
This should just be I will try to do no harm. There you go.
Yeah.
Boom.
Well, so now
Oath.
so now there's like modifications and people take oaths still. Like like I had to put a little oath in when I got my white coat and stuff. But it isn't this oath, to be clear. It is not the Hippocratic one.
So what you're saying
Um,
is Blackjack never swore his oath to Apollo.
correct. I am saying that.
Wow.
One more line just because it's good. And whatsoever I shall see or hear in the course of my profession, as well as outside my profession, in my intercourse with men, if it be what should not be published abroad, I will never divulge, holding such things to be holy secrets. And so this is where we get this whole like patient safety and like HIPAA and like,
Mm.
not sharing what isn't meant to be shared.
Mm-hmm.
But in this, it's talking about in my intercourse with men and things that should not be published abroad. So it's like, the language could be construed in such a way that it's like, anytime I'm speaking with a guy about his health problems, that's fine. And I won't share any of those. But women, doesn't matter at all. Share that because that's the man's property. Like that's still sort of baked into the language here.
Classic. I mean, just classic.
Yeah.
Well,
That was
women didn't have medical problems until the 1900s. Okay.
true. True. And it was just because they were
Yeah,
crazy.
hysterical, if you will.
Yeah. So that's my note on the Hippocratic Oath. That's my monologue for that. And then my sort of last one was really just like, or I guess last two, they're sort of tied together. The whole observation deck thing is one thing, like,
Hmm.
definitely like other medical professionals get in the observation deck. Sometimes for certain low risk procedures, like family members can watch and stuff,
Right.
but certainly not for a guy who suffered like multiple gunshot wounds would family members be up there, let alone a 5-year-old child.
She just wants to see them save her grandpa.
Yeah. You know how horrifying that would be? Like, yeah, I was like, what the fuck are we talking about here? I was like, this is not in reality at all. Um,
Well, they had to have a scene where Blackjack talked to the girl about the grandpa, so they were just saying, you know what, shove her in there.
and then of course now Blackjack steps down from the observation deck, gowns up. She gives Pinocchio the properly sized gown somehow. And he takes over the surgery, and he goes, "How is our patient, or how are our patient's vitals?" And again,
Yeah,
the
good.
other person, no, not very good.
I
and he
didn't
just says,
notice that.
"All right," you know, he just accepts it as fate. Like no, like not even no half-ass physician would ask for a set of vitals and accept "not very good" as an answer.
It's still
You know,
pretty
because
funny, though.
if it truly is not very good, you should be doing something about it, not like operating in their brain.
Also, the electric scalpel stuff, did that did that check out at all?
um, well, so
Like, oh,
they,
the electric scalpel, you can't do that operation with that thing.
I mean, that again, I'm not a neurosurgeon. I have not even witnessed a neurosurgery in person
Wow,
myself.
why are you here?
But theoretically, that could be fine. My issue is they basically just kept saying like, "Oh, operating on the midbrain structure, the mesencephalon with that would be the problem." And like for really, I mean, again, this isn't like generalized brain surgery. It's like very specific. Like there is a bullet here, and this is the path it took. So you should be very specific about like the structures you're going to be cutting into because you know the exact line of access you need to get to where the bullet is.
Hmm.
So to just generally say the midbrain, which is again a third of the brain, just doesn't make sense to me. So I was more hung up on like how they were even communicating to each other because it wasn't effective at all than I was the is the scalpel really the wrong answer here, or the electric scalpel versus the knife, the metal knife.
Gotcha.
But
And
that
is
takes
that
us to
all?
the end of the episode. that
Shoo!
was that enough for you?
Yeah, I mean, hey, good thing the next one doesn't really have medical stuff. Well, wait, Blackjack or Whackjack? I mean, I think it's kind
I
of
think this
clear.
was blackjack.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely
think it's
Blackjack.
blackjack.
Episode 8, Green Sentiments. Big picture. I don't know if you want to get the big
You,
picture.
you got it. You hit this.
I thought it was kind of a cool mystical, again, I don't want to say mystery, but it had a certain intrigue and atmosphere that I enjoyed. And it was very light on any sort of doctor medical procedure. I mean, he did one medical procedure and it really just was just extracting stuff. So I mean, it was very light on any of that. So I could see how a certain somebody doesn't like the episode.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say to say something positive about the episode, this is what the samurai episode tried to be. There's this element of fantasy and wonder and again, anime-ness to this that several episodes seemingly have tried to do but haven't really gotten because it's either been tied down by the grounding of real medicine or
It was all a
um,
dream.
themes that are surgical or yes, haha, we got you, it's a dream. In this case, this is more it kept that through line of like obviously the not only literal um like imagining of nature as like a anthropomorphized thing, but also the like metaphor for humans interfering with nature, and there's got to be gatekeepers and safety guards and things like this. So that was fine. I do like that it held true and it did it well in that respect. It just wasn't blackjack as we know it at this point.
That's fair. I mean, hey, I won't argue that, but I think the the tree plot and the old man and the boy and the whole thematic kind of like you said, like deforestation and all that jazz. I even liked how they looped around the singing. I think the mystical stuff actually was able to carry it in my view. Because honestly, I kind of wanted this to be like a separate movie, not even Blackjack. I just wanted
Right.
this
Right. Just
story.
right. This story is good, and so I want to see more of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I can respect that.
the gist is that a boy starts growing leaves, and I think it's just leaves out of his skin, and
Yeah, like
his
the shoots in the leaves. Yeah.
yeah, and his older brother contacts Blackjack to help them, but they're at a school, and he doesn't tell his parents for some reason. It's a whole thing. But that's the gist of the story. And the subplot is this drunk man is trying to stop the boy's father from coming and tearing it down for a road that they just kind of just said, yeah, it's a road. I don't know. Uh, just yeah, this road goes from this small city to big city. We need it. But yeah, I mean, again, I think I enjoyed all the elements of it. I enjoyed that again. Like episode 7, we had character development. We had characters who changed and didn't change, or kind of remained static. We had a purpose for all the characters. I didn't think any of the characters were just kind of superfluous to everything. It gave this kind of it gave a completion feeling. It had a beginning and a conclusion, looped it off, boom bada bing, and then we had those subtleties at the end. But yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoyed the vibe. It honestly felt as though I were watching 90s Toonami, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean totally. Like one of my comments, because I agree, I really liked the drunk guy just as a character. Like it could have been way more of him and way less of everyone else, and it still would have been a good episode. Um, for anime, just not for Blackjack. My only reason why I think this is a negative episode is because it wasn't Blackjack. It was
That's
just something
fair.
else entirely.
No,
Um,
Blackjack barely even did anything, really.
yeah, like it wasn't even a medical problem, really. It was like a mystery illness where a tree infested a boy. Like, it's not. Why do you need a doctor for that? Like, get a healer.
I
Um,
also sorry, what were you gonna say?
I'll just say so. The issue or not issue, the thing with the drunk man, and also sort of the tonal thing that I also felt like didn't fit with the rest of the series was that he gave so much exposition in monologue
Mm,
that it was like almost like theater,
hmm.
like direct talking to audience, huge amounts of exposition about his backstory, about what the tree is, why everyone's there. And I was like, why aren't we getting any exposition like this for any real thing in the show? Why is it this guy and this tree get this much exposition? I mean, it's probably a 10 to 15 minutes of monologuing from the drunk guy, which was basically the plot.
Yeah, and it was good. Okay.
Yeah, it was good. I'm not saying it wasn't good. I'm just saying the why of it, the tonal shifts of the show, the purpose behind doing it here and not elsewhere. Just it was rubbing me the wrong way.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. I just enjoyed how kind of different this episode felt. But I also just wanted to touch up on Blackjack's kind of reaction to all this. So Blackjack can accept breastfeeding gives memories. He can accept a super water illness, and even in his dream state, he accepted a mystical serpent. But the second someone says a tree can think, he goes, "No way, nope, no way." Just, you sure, Blackjack? You sure you
Yeah.
can't believe that? So
Well,
I
and
just
in the whole quote unquote mystery of it all is basically him trying to figure out how a plant can like infect a kid. And he's like,
mm.
there's literally no like this is one of the first lines that Blackjack says in the episode. He's like, there's no evidence of plant life living on an animal. And then immediately contradicts
It says
himself
moss
and
and
says,
algae.
well, yeah, he's like, oh, I did find that bug that grows stuff. And I was also just like, what about like tortoises and like, you know, it's not a plant, but like the barnacles on whales and stuff. I was like, there's so much like parasitic relationship. It's so unbelievable that a plant might have evolved that capacity.
Yeah, literally a minute after he says that, he goes, "Other than algae and moss." I was like, "Wait, but those are hold on. Aren't those
Yeah.
plants too, dog?" But yeah, it was kind of funny. I mean, yeah, when I think about it, Blackjack's role just really wasn't
I mean, it was honest.
needed.
This could have been Pinocchio, and he's like
Mm-hmm.
chasing after Pinocchio
Yeah.
episode. It like he didn't have to do anything for this boy, in my opinion.
He did have the awesome freaking zinger at the end when the drunk man Armando tries to kill himself and Blackjack throws the scalpel. He's like, "Hey, you can kill yourself, just not in front of me." I was just that goes hard. That went insanely hard for no reason because you're saying a dude can just kill himself, Doctor? I mean, okay, but
Right.
pretty badass.
Very
Yeah, I
badass.
don't know. I just think this episode had a style that I enjoyed. And it was just kind of cool seeing just the world kind of throw it all out the window, whatever realism we had in the last few episodes. It's just like, nah, this tree is alive, man. You know, and it's just I don't know. I think it was cool because it was so different. But
Fair.
I really don't have a ton of specifics. I think I've kind of gone over a lot of it. I did really enjoy. I think I said this how they looped his choir singing, how we open the episode, how we loop it back around to that's the tree's desires, just to hear the beautiful singing or whatever. I think that was great. And then the tease at the end where Blackjack gets the seedling from the tree. I think that's a really cool tease that we'll never see again because two more episodes. So I wonder if that's ever touched up on the manga. Do we know what chapter this was?
This was a combination of two leaf buds, which I presume is the little boy being infected by a plant, and 125, which is the old man in the tree.
Crazy. So which one was what number was Leaf Buds?
19. Thought I said that.
Huh. Do you think they teased this stuff or do you think it's literally just fusion of two?
I think it's fusion of two. I think they just took two ideas and threw them together.
I might have to look up the manga just to say it was chapter 19.
Yeah, 19 is the leaf buds, and 125 is the old man in the tree.
I'm just gonna look up chapter 19 after this just to see if if maybe it's just the boy and then it's kind of a mystery and then you figure out later, or yeah, or if it's just a literal yeah, we fused them, who cares. But yeah, I'm curious to see that. I also think it's funny how the UN is just such a thing in these or in this show. Where like, what was it? The UN came for something in this episode, but I feel like the UN is just always this kind of mega power when in
Right.
reality, not so much. Like in episode 7, the Civil War stopped because the UN came in. No way, Doc.
Right.
No way.
Right.
That's not how it works. And then I forget how they even came in, or I think you might have just mentioned it. But yeah, the UN came in again. But I think that's kind of oh, and we also got the Pinocchio robot tease. That was in this episode, not the last episode. I think I misspoke. Because he said, "Oh, the plant can't grow on you, Pinocchio. You have synthetic skin," and just doesn't care to extrapolate at all. Doesn't care to explain that little statement. So I'm kind of whatever. But yeah, that's kind of all I have for this episode. I liked it, but there's not a lot of
What
specifics.
one thing I forgot to say because you didn't say the episode name. It's called Green Sentiments on
I thought I said
Tubi.
green sentiments.
Yeah, but it's called Thoughts for Green on Wiki.
That's weird. We need to get to the bottom of that.
Um, Let me see. Let me do a Google
I mean,
Translate
isn't
of
that
what
a
they say that.
translate kind of green
Yeah, no,
sentiments? Thoughts were
because no,
green.
because Google Translate for the actual Japanese Midori no Omo is Green Lord.
What? That doesn't make
Yeah,
sense. Or sorry,
and
the
actually
title
in
doesn't make
episode seven,
sense.
episode 7, Shiroi Saigi is white justice, but then they say black and white. So I don't know.
So
I
what's
don't know what's
Japanese for
going on.
sentiments? I think we need to go backwards.
Let's see.
Maybe we can kind of piece it together.
Sentiment is kanjo.
Huh. Weird. I don't know. I don't know how that's decided. Like, I don't know if that's, again, I think this is a question of this whole show is it the localizers? Is it the actual manga writers? Is it the episode writers? There's a lot going on, or who's to blame, really. And I wonder how the creator, he just saw these and went, yeah, I think that's what I meant. So I don't know. There weren't really medical stuff, but do you have medical stuff?
No, I literally don't have medical stuff.
Yeah,
You heard
because
my 2 notes I actually took.
I mean, like I said, the medical stuff is him cutting out the leaves and saying, "Yeah, I got it," and then the leaves come back, and that's literally all the medical stuff in the entire episode. And then it ends with the really badass sequence of the guy, the drunk Armando, fighting off the developers with Molotov cocktails, which was awesome. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I just enjoyed how different this was, but there's not really a ton to talk about. It's just kind of vibes. Kind of
I
just,
mean, and again, it's a good episode of TV. I just don't think it's a good episode of Blackjack.
I
So
guess that's
my personal
fair.
view is this is Whack Jack, but I think we can split the difference and just say it's a Jack.
It's definitely, yeah, I think we can go Jack. I guess my point of contention is that a good amount of the episodes we have watched don't have the nice TV movie conclusion. So when we finally get one, that
It feels nice. It feels
yeah.
like a win.
So yeah, we can settle on Jack. But is that all for episode 8?
That's all I got.
All right, join us next time on episode 5 of Blackjack or Whackjack when we talk about the possible final 2 episodes. The actual final 2 were not dubbed, so we're still deciding if we want to do that or not. And they came out freaking, what, 10, 15 years after the ones we're watching. So join us on our maybe final episode of Blackjack or Whackjack. Until then, we're out of here.
Peace.
They're the worst.